welcome to episode 173 of the McPodcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Hadamia.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary!
It feels like it's been a year.
I know.
I hate it. I saw you last night and I was like, oh, how are you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. It's weird. I don't like it. I don't like it. I tell you. But so much to talk about. Too much to talk about.
Yes.
I mean, let's just go from the top, which is my favorite of all time. And you know this.
Uh-oh.
It's the story that never ends.
Oh, the Disney?
A fairy tale, if you will.
I have that on my list too. It's so funny.
Yeah, so DeSantis, because of, I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but because of the deal that board made where they effectively left the new board powerless at Reedy Creek, DeSantis vowed that we're going to overturn it. And the second that it goes through the legislature here, they get slapped with a lawsuit from Walt Disney Corporation.
It's so
and
funny.
They're suing DeSantis and other top people in the administration who allowed this to happen. And I want to read two things from the lawsuit.
Oh, I have a quote from the lawsuit
that I thought was really good. So the first one says, Disney finds itself in this regrettable position because it expressed a viewpoint the governor and his allies did not like. Disney wishes that things could have been resolved a different way. But Disney also knows that it is fortunate to have the resources to take a stand against the state's retaliation, a stand smaller businesses and individuals might not be able to take when the state comes after them for expressing their own views. In America, the government cannot punish you for speaking your mind. Holy shit.
Yep.
And this is kind of what we had talked about before. Like, the whole thing is to intimidate other corporations and businesses from taking a stand and saying, we're not going to allow guns in our businesses, or we're not going to allow this to happen, we're not going to allow that to happen, right? And so it was really incredible to me that was one of the things that they said in here. And also that they have the resources to do it where other companies don't have those resources, you know?
And the language of targeted campaign of government retaliation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's doing everywhere, not just to Disney.
Right.
He's doing it to our schools. He's doing it to businesses who want to have a drag performance and like taking liquor licenses away. Like he's doing this everywhere he can. So I think it's really amazing and incredible that Disney is able to go up against him, because I just feel like this guy is such an asshole.
Yeah.
You know? And the other thing that I love about this story, I don't know if you were going to mention it, is the book.
Yes, they're using quotes from his own book. Quotes from against him. They get the DeSantis memoir.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And
so fucking good.
Basically, he was bragging in the memoir about how he went after Disney following, the whole parental rights bill. Like, this is how it all started, is with that parental rights bill and education and the whole don't say gay and LGBTQ. And then they had like a parade or something at Disney, or they were employee. I don't remember the catalyst, but something around that. And I think it says in the lawsuit, this is the quote that I had, was Governor DeSantis' memoir attacked Disney's speech and petitioning activity for expressing the wrong viewpoint. In promising to work to repeal the bill, the company was pledging a frontal assault on a duly enacted law of the state of Florida.
Yeah. Here's my favorite. Here's another one. At the governor's behest, the state legislature, who, by the way, should also be named in this. Anybody who voted to take those rights away from Reedy Creek, and which is basically who they're punishing, is that governing board, they should all be swung into this lawsuit, because the governor doesn't make laws. He just signs them. He doesn't write them. He doesn't create them. He doesn't vote on them. He just signs it. And those goons that he has in the Florida House and the Florida Senate that were doing everything in their power to give him everything that he wants, they're responsible, idiots. But they're also responsible. They're the ones who wrote it. Okay, so Representative Randy Fine, who's an absolute dog shit motherfucker. Dog shit.
He's the worst.
Last year, when this thing was going throughout special session last year, we had a House rep named Carlos Guillermo Smith from Orlando, who's been voted out since then, but he's running for state senate now. So what the Democrats can do, because we have no power there, right? They have a supermajority right now, but they've had a majority for 20 years in Florida. So what the Democrats' what their responsibilities are, is to ask the questions on the floor and in committees to get things on the record. Because then the ACLU, the NAACP, all these organizations, League of Women Voters, can sue on certain issues based on what the legislators said that the intent of the bill is, right? And they like to leave it very vague so that teachers don't know what to do with books and what will happen to me if I say this. It's very, very vague. So, but Democrats got a lot on the record. And so Carlos Guillermo Smith in a committee had Randy Fine, running for his life, defending this stupid fucking thing last year. And here's one of the quotes which was really important, that is now in the lawsuit against Ron DeSantis, is Randy Fine's own fucking words.
Oh God, this guy's such a...
Yeah. So they talked about it, and he said, at the governor's behest, this is directly from the lawsuit. At the governor's behest, the state legislature first voted to dissolve the long-standing RCID, which is Reedy Creek, then ultimately voted to give near complete control of Reedy Creek to the governor himself. As the Florida representative who introduced the Reedy Creek dissolution bill declared to the Florida House State Affairs Committee, quote, this is Randy Fine, quote, "You kick the hornet's nest, things come up. And I will say this, you got me on one thing. The bill does target one company. It targets the Walt Disney Company."
Well, there you go.
I mean...
But the fact that they are going to give sole power of a corporation
to a governor,
the state is insane. And the other unfortunate thing is, I was talking about this today, and I was wishing that our state university system could do a similar thing and pull a lawsuit, but because it's a state university system, it's different, obviously, than Disney.
Yeah.
But the other thing, with all of these bills that's happening is there was an article that there is a mass exodus. There is a mass exodus of college faculty out of the state. Yeah. And there's no one wanting to come here.
Well, the thing you were saying a year ago about nobody wanting Florida students is now I'm reading articles about that, about people who are not going to want to... Kids, if he fucks with these AP courses, those are like all the things my daughter is taking in high school.
Yes.
And she won't get the college credit she's supposed to get.
Yeah. Or the rigorous coursework. And I heard that he, I think, wants to also create his own AP, a Florida AP. Do you understand? Yeah. Like, first of all, the College Board has been around a long time. The past tests go back to 1970. Mm-hmm. For certain subjects, right? Subjects that I'm familiar with, go back to 1970. It takes a long time to create those materials, to vet those materials, to test them, because you got to test the questions. Yeah. You got to make sure that they're viable. You got to make sure that you have the proper there's a lot that goes into manufacturing testing material at a rigorous level. Like, it's not, you don't just Mickey Mouse throw a question at a student. Like, you don't do that. So my brain starts going, like, who is behind this? Right. Who is going to make money off of creating all of this material for the state of Florida? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, who's lobbying for that?
Well, they've already said there's Christian companies that are going to do it. That's literally out there. The legislators are saying and they say third-party vendors, which mean people who contributed to Ron DeSantis' campaigns.
And it's like, so, and I know that there are Republicans in this state who want their children to go to Stanford and Yale and all of the lovely private institutions outside of the state. And once their little Johnny and their little Janie are starting to get denied and denied and denied because they don't have the rigorous transcripts, then it's going to be a reckoning. But by then, what? Everyone else is screwed?
Right, they can't even give you, it said in the paper today, they don't even have a timeline on, like, when this would happen, when it would take effect. Like, nobody knows anything. And they're going to also ask the public universities to help create the curriculum. Don't they have enough to do? They have to teach the curriculum. Now you want them to write the curriculum? What the fuck? And do you trust them or not? I mean, what is this?
It takes a lot of time to do that.
Well, here, let me go back to Disney, because there's one more thing that I thought was fantastic, because what's really happening now, too, is that a lot of these state lawmakers are seeing and hearing from their constituents, and they're like, why is he still going after Disney? And the constituents don't like it. They're fucking over it, okay? Because he still hasn't come to Broward County, by the way. Anyway, Representative Roach and his name is fitting, believe me. He's another massive shitbird. He fucking was all for getting rid of Disney Reedy Creek. Listen to this quote this week. You ready?
Yeah.
This is a fucking quote in the paper. I think the governor is right, but I'm not sure at this point that the public is with us. And I urge the governor to be cautious as he goes on with this fight with Disney. End quote. Now, that never happens.
No.
Like, you don't see it. Like, Randy Fine, he's a fucking, again, massive dick. He's going to go along with whatever governor says.
Yeah.
But it's bullshit. And there was a great testimony. I don't know who it was, but it was a regular Joe who came up to the microphone and was yelling, saying, "Why are you all helping this guy? And when he goes to become president, he's going to leave you all behind too. He's going to leave you behind," which is really the truth. He's really going to do that
because he has the reputation. Like, it's been coming out. Like, when he was in Congress and stuff, he would have the headphones in.
Yeah, he doesn't care about anybody.
People, and he was on committees
Your
with.
pawns.
Like, he wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care about anybody.
But that also used to matter. Like, it used to matter that the Supreme Court and the legislature and the governor or the president were separate entities. It actually mattered. There was a point where the Florida Senate was the real place, where it didn't matter who had the majority. They would stop the governor in his tracks every single time in the Florida Senate. That was the stopgap right fucking there. And that doesn't exist anymore. That president of the Senate, Kathleen, I don't even care to fucking learn her last name. I don't give a fuck. She's a cunt. And she's a fucking wino. And she betrays women. She's a fucking traitor. Go fuck yourself. Seriously. To glad hand and carry water for this clown.
I mean.
And to ruin the education system in
of the
Florida
entire state
that is underfunded in the first fucking place. And then you want to decimate it for students who want a better education. I mean, not all students can even have access to that. And the ones that can, I mean, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
But the larger implications, like when you think about a school like UF, which has like a lot of like agricultural studies,
right?
Like medicine, like there's a lot of research happening at in a school like UF. That's a highly funded research institution. And who's going to want to come here?
Nobody.
And what is that going to do to our jobs? Like the fact that he is so focused on himself that he's, what is it? That he's going to throw the baby out with the bathwater? Like,
he's not even here.
Care.
He's not even in the country.
On a book tour.
Oh God. He's not even in the country. A week. It was this week. He was in fucking Japan and he went fucking nuts because. Here's the thing. I don't think about DeSantis that. I don't think people outside of Florida even know. But here. He will not take a question from somebody who's not a friendly reporter so that he doesn't have to answer any questions. And you've seen him do it before where somebody will yell something out and it gets fucking nasty. And that happened to Japan. He has no control over these in Israel and in Japan where he's been. They've asked him questions and you see how he gets. Mad. He's a temper tantrum baby waiting to happen. And that's who you want in the White House?
Yeah.
A heartbeat or a step away from the fucking red button? The red phone or whatever the fuck, that's who you want there?
The way he has been losing his cool over the Guantanamo question.
Let me tell you something. On a national level, he is going to be buried.
Nope. He's a loser.
Because he's a
loser.
He is. He's the one everybody picked on in school. Let's be honest. He was stuffed in the fucking locker. Come on. He was.
They gave him wedgies.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too. And that's sad, but but again, is that my fucking fault? Do I got to take the hit for that, motherfucker?
Go to therapy, DeSantis.
Seriously.
Go to therapy. Jeez, your wife better go too.
Oh my God.
Oh, another kids in your kids
another one dead behind the fucking eyes.
Kids need to go too.
I mean,
my favorite thing is though, I think
send your kids to therapy, bitch.
I think that
they're too busy building the wall in their house with those blocks.
I think we talked about it too. Is that he got married? The irony of ironies is that this man got married at Disney World.
I forgot.
You idiot!
He's such a fucking idiot. And you know who does that? Bubbleheads.
I know.
Bubbleheads. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
He
got married at Disney. That is the worst sentence I've ever heard. If somebody says to me, "I got married at Disney," immediately I walk away.
Yeah.
Immediately, I fucking run. I gotta get out.
And he must be so upset that Disney just didn't roll over for him. You know?
Yeah.
And, you're an analyst number 2. I mean, it must suck. Like, I think we should only refer to him as that from now on.
Yeah.
You're an analyst number 2.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And he, me, I always got to bring in the literature. But, Caesar was brought down
by
ambition.
Yeah.
ambition, 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 ambition. And his ambition is going to bring, this is his ambition for the presidency. This is going to be his downfall.
Yeah.
It's going to destroy him.
And
then he's going to run for Senate or whatever, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But the other thing is too, is that Trump handles the press so differently. Because Trump is so arrogant, he really, and DeSantis really wants to have that, the one thing he doesn't have that Trump has is that air of like, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Because Trump's been able to walk on fucking air and really escape the news for a long time.
And he's like a New York.
Yeah, and this guy doesn't have that.
And he's a personality. Like, he's been in front of the press the whole time.
DeSantis has no personality. Zero. And the worst small dick energy. Yeah, but that's such small dick energy that those meltdowns.
Did you see that somebody made DeSantis into a Garbage Pail Kid, and it's like the funniest thing, like this round head and like the little stuffy body. Oh my God, he does look like a Cabbage Patch Kid. He does. I mean, the other two things that I have is, of course, Tucker Carlson is out, which I celebrated. Bye, bitch. I just love that he left on Friday and thought he was coming into work on Monday. Oh my God. It's about time, though.
Oh, well, it shouldn't take that long for people to realize that you have this kind of conspiracy theorist pushing bullshit on your air. Like, it shouldn't take a lawsuit and $787 million to do that.
And conspiracy theories that he doesn't believe in.
Right.
He's just pandering to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's playing everybody for a fool.
But the real damage that these guys do to your parents, whoever listened to Fox, or your grandparents, it's real. There was a woman who posted something about January 6th here in West Palm Beach. She posted something about January 6th. It was some sort of threatening thing. The FBI contacted her and said, we're going to come and talk to you about this because you can't post this kind of stuff on social media. And she said to them, you come to my house, you're going to die.
Oh.
And they came to her house and arrested her for threatening FBI agents. And why is she worked up? Why? And by the way, we had a troll this week who told us that January 6th was a conspiracy on our Facebook.
Yeah, that it came out. It came out already.
Everybody knows this has been resolved. January 6th was not an insurrection. We got to get off Facebook. Everybody has to get off Facebook. Please, God, let's get off of there. Jesus. I'm ready. I'm ready to be out of Facebook.
The only other thing I have is to go back to SCOTUS.
Yes.
I wanted to.
Oh, I have a tweet I just sent to myself.
Was it you and I that called it instead of SCOTUS, Scrotus, like scrotum?
No, but I wish I had. I wish I could right now.
Scrotus.
Oh my God.
So the law firm had bought, his property, and he identified
Clarence
that the
Thomas.
property. No, Neil. This is Neil
Gorsuch. This is somebody else.
Neil Gorsuch. Yes.
Oh my! I was going to tell you about another one.
And he identified, yes, the property was sold, but he never said who bought it. And it was very convenient that the firm who bought it was also a firm who had numerous cases that were before the court.
Wow.
So we said this last time. Anybody that goes before SCOTUS or Scrotus, how do we trust? Your decisions mean bullshit. Why does your decision in a court case matter? Why do we have to abide by what your ruling is? We shouldn't have to. Like, go fuck yourself. You're like some corrupt dickhead, and now we gotta fall in line with you? I don't think so.
These rules exist so that there's not corruption. And if we allow them to if we turn a blind eye to it,
they're out.
Because they're human beings. And they're susceptible to fall for this shit or grab for money or take the trips or whatever, get the gifts because they're human beings. That's right. And they're human beings who make mistakes, and or huge errors that are illegal. And that's why we have laws and need to hold them accountable. And we can't do it because Feinstein hasn't fucking thrown in the towel yet. And here's something else the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Every time I hear her name, I flip out.
And the Senate Judiciary Committee that she's absent from still sent a letter to Justice Roberts and requested he come and testify in front of Congress because of this bullshit and about the ethics on the Supreme Court right now and what's been happening. And he wrote a letter back, and he was basically like, it's a very rare thing because of the separation of powers. It's very rare. That a justice is going to come in, and then he lists 2 paragraphs of all the 2 times it's happened and why the justice had to do that, right? He's like, so I really can't do it. So he and the other 9 justices signed a letter saying they're not going to come testify, basically saying there's something to see here. Guess what came out today in an ethics probe? We learned that Robert's wife has collected $10 million from law firms with business in front of the court.
Everybody needs to go.
Okay?
The court is corrupt. The
He's
court
the
has
Chief
been bought
Justice.
and sold.
Yep.
The court has been bought and sold.
Yeah, he's the Chief Justice.
And they do not get to now rule on people when they are corrupt. I mean, they take an oath of office as an attorney, do they not?
Yep.
I mean, God, to pass the bar, like, you have to be, they look at your history. They look at every violation that you could possibly have, bankruptcy, shit like that. And you could be disbarred for shit. But how are they sitting on a goddamn court making rulings about our bodies?
You know.
About our air, the air that we breathe. You know what I mean? What is going on? They have to get out. Like, we have to have some balls. How do we do it? I don't understand.
So here's the thing. Like, obviously we need Feinstein. But
right.
You know what else I was thinking too? A friend of mine told me recently her husband votes where he'll vote for to keep it even. And I understand his reasoning. I'm not trying to dog talk, shit talk him, whatever. I understand. He's like, well, if I'm going to vote for a Republican governor, I'm going to vote for a Democrat for the Senate, U.S. Senate. Like, to keep the powers in check. And I understand what he's saying. I know. I wouldn't vote for Republican. Yeah. I'm just saying that, okay? Because here's the thing. The Senate's 50-50, right? Which means we also need Republicans to acknowledge that what's happening on the Supreme Court is real. It shouldn't be up to the Democrats to hold these guys accountable because they're conservative judges.
Right.
Where's the balls on the Republicans to also acknowledge that this is something that needs to happen?
Because they're all on the tape.
Do you know what I mean?
This was their point.
Like, that is what that governmental body is supposed to do. That legislature, the U.S. Congress, their powers are to hold the court accountable.
Right.
That's it. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So it's not just Democrats and do Republicans. Where are you?
But
this is outrageous.
But this is where they are. They're standing behind Mitch McConnell, whose sole purpose was to take over the judiciary, to take over judge seats. This is their plan so that they can maintain power. And that's it. So they're not going to go against anybody because they are selfish and they're going to do what's right for them rather than for the good of the country. And the irony of ironies is that this is the party that's supposed to be, small government and patriotic and all this bullshit. And it's garbage.
It's awful. It's fucking awful.
It's garbage.
I also want to mention, we had those two the House reps in Tennessee that were thrown out.
Yes.
But also this week, Representative Zoe Zephyr from Montana, the first trans person even to be elected somewhere in Montana, was elected to the House. She has been fighting because they want to do a ban on trans children in sports, et cetera, all the same bullshit. And she was speaking out, and the people were in the gallery shouting. They cleared the gallery out, and they voted this week to throw her out of the session. So then she was sitting out on the bench, right? And by the way, I'm bringing it up because I don't see the same outrage that we saw in Tennessee. Right. Because what's happened very quickly, and maybe also because she's trans, and people just will be even more dismissive and not about these black young men. I don't know. I'm just saying, I think that it's not being talked about enough. But also, she was sitting outside on the bench, like in the hallway, and they told her to come. They came and took her out of that. Like, she couldn't even stand up there. And she represents 111,000 people. And all of her bills that were in committees, they threw them out.
My God.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. This just happened in Tennessee like 3 weeks ago, right? And now we're seeing it in Montana. I think it's because she's trans, but I also think it's because we are now numb to that. And it happened one time in the last 3 weeks. And we are like, well, like I said on the podcast, now we're going to see this in other states. Yep. And we see it in Montana. I guarantee you it's going to happen here.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we need to understand that this is not democracy. You cannot throw out duly elected representatives.
People voted.
You're basically throwing 111,000 people's representative out that now don't have a voice there. This is not America. Because you want to silence her. That's not fucking okay. It's not okay.
I mean, what happened of the government of the people, by the people, for the people?
No.
What happened to that?
It's fucked up.
Of the people, by the people, for the people.
And you can't use what they said. They basically said you can't be here because she kept interrupting, kept wanting to speak. They kept ignoring her, and so they're like, you're not being polite. Basically, that's why they threw her out, because she wasn't following the rules.
Good. Don't.
But
be
you're
polite.
not. Yeah. just because she's not following your rules, she still is supposed to be acknowledged and be able to get on the record about things, and they're not. That's the thing. We just talked about how important it is for Democrats to get people on the record to answer these questions. If we don't get them on the record, we can't fucking sue them and get the shit thrown out. Then what? What happens? And when you silence these voices, we are in Nazi Germany. Yeah. This is what they did. This is what they do. They throw your books out. I mean, I hate even people making those sort of things, but please keep your eyes open. We are on the road to, to a really, really fucking dark place. If we don't start acknowledging and holding these motherfuckers accountable, even if you don't care for Zoe Zephyr, even if you don't care for these young men in Tennessee, you should have some sort of respect for the rule of law, and that we have, it's part of our Constitution. That we elect representatives so that because we all can't be in Tallahassee. We can't all be in the Capitol.
They pick and choose. They pick and choose what they want to follow from the Constitution. They pick and choose what they see as the law and order of the land. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you don't agree with them, then you're out. We're not even going to hear you. An exchange of ideas. You already have the majority. The shit you want's going to pass anyway. But why wouldn't you just let this be on the record? And have respect for her as a lawmaker. The people who voted for her want her there. They don't give a... It's not about what you want, who you want to see, or what you like. This is who the people who voted for her. And also, how about some self-reflection? What if that was you and you got thrown out? How would you feel about that? Wouldn't you be fucked up about it? I mean, I don't get this.
I don't think they give a shit. And the other thing I was thinking about, to go back to the SCOTUS thing, like if it was, and I've said it before on here, but if they were two Democratic or leaning more liberal judges, they would have stepped down. There would have been pressure, and they would have stepped down. There would have been pressure from the Democrats to have them step down.
Maybe.
You don't think so?
Maybe. We can do better at that. Because the reason why Dianne Feinstein won't leave is because Democrats won't tell her to. Nancy Pelosi's already said that it's sexist. There's other people in Congress who have said that it's sexist. And I gotta tell you, the woman's been losing her mind for a good 5 years.
Yeah, and her stuff
and shingles, etc. Yeah, this is a real fucking thing. I don't know why. And I have to tell you, as much as politics I think is utter, absolute horseshit and nonsense, and it's theater, really. Yeah. It's unfortunate that this theater is what gives us laws we have to follow, but that is what it is. And as Democrats, we should hold our own accountable, and we have to say the things that people don't want to hear. And it's not ageist. You're not capable of doing the job anymore. And the entire state of California
is on hold.
Is resting because of that. You don't have a voice. The state of California doesn't have a full voice in the Senate. If you have any respect for our system that our forefathers gave us, get the fuck out. If you have any respect for your colleagues, for the million people who voted for you that you had to tell the kids that day. Million people voted for you. Well, are you going to represent them, or are you going to go to take a nap? Because we can't fucking handle it anymore. This is bullshit. I'll tell you right now, she's my fucking rep. I'd be furious. I'd be fucking furious. And on that fucking note, Joe Biden is running for re-election. And everybody's so excited. You see how many people are like, calm down. We knew he was going to break. What is this, a surprise?
I know, but
the fuck out of here.
I've been thinking about this.
Oh, here she comes.
I know.
I knew this was coming.
Few days.
Yes.
And I've let it simmer. And
let me drink my Irish cream before you say something.
I've let it simmer for a bit, and he has had many accomplishments. He has not rocked the boat, and I think there's something to be said about someone who is like keeping the boat afloat. You know what I mean? That is keeping us going, that is passing a lot of good legislation. And yes, he is. He's done a lot.
Yeah, but who signed it?
Well,
did anybody?
I know.
Shit passes the House. Everybody's like, "Yeah, we passed this assault weapons ban." No, you didn't.
I know.
It did not go through the Senate. It's not signed by the president. You didn't pass anything. Let's be honest.
He is with jobs, and there's things that he has done to help boost the economy, and I feel like he does work towards things, and I think he's making good strides towards things, and he's our guy, and Grandpa Joe.
Listen, I think it's okay, especially in our little tiny corner of the world here, to say that he's doing a good job, but also acknowledge that.
But Democrats,
it's a hard pill to swallow. Listen, call me an ageist. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I want to see reality. Let's talk about reality. I'm sorry. Of course, I'm gonna vote for him if he's the nominee. I mean, what are my options here? Well, but here's what I'm asking for. Can we have a plan? What I'm hearing is that when he ran for office 4 years ago, from the day he took office, there was never a plan of like, is somebody else going to run in 4 years? Like, what was the plan? The plan was he was always going to run because he didn't take Kamala and give her a spotlight. We fucking know that. We barely saw her for 2 years.
I wonder what's going to happen if she's going to run.
And then there was no like taking somebody under their wing. That Gavin Newsom, he's really running his own goddamn political machine out there, and he's really promoting himself all over the place. And I'm sorry. And I have to like learn more about him, but I really feel like he was perfect and ready to step right up and run for office, for president.
Were you at there was a recent Broward Democratic Party meeting.
You're asking me if I was at a Broward Democratic meeting? I think we know the answer to that question.
And somebody there, they were like, a presidential candidate who's going up against Joe Biden. There was some guy.
Oh my God.
I was like, who is this guy?
He's probably the same person who sent us an email asking if he can come on the podcast.
And but he was a Democrat. Oh. And the thing that was funny was someone, you know how they like recognize candidates and recognize, you know? So they we'd like to recognize so-and-so who's running, for president. And people in the room laughed because they thought it was a joke. And the guy was just like, hey, how are you?
Oh my God. So, you know what though? God bless you, sir. God bless you.
I mean, like, what? And he was like, to give him like a run for his money. I don't know. I was like, what? And I guess he's been showing up at other club meetings.
So he's from Florida?
He has to be.
Oh my God.
But he's like an older dude.
No shit. Oh, shocked. I'm shocked. You know what I'm going to do?
So funny.
I'm going to file to run for president of the United States. And fuck it, let's give it a whirl. Yeah, Joe Biden who? Who's Joe Biden? I'm just going to go run for president. Wow. And to be a white man is really got to be
and it was so great because I was like, I've never seen this person before in my life. Like, there are people that I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen this guy around here and there, maybe. I've never seen this man before in my life. And here he is at a meeting running for president.
God bless you, sir. You know what I'd like to do? I'd like to have a conversation with his mother because whatever she did raising this kid, I need to do that for my kids. I want to build them up so much. I really do. Is it BDE? I don't know. What is it?
I don't think this guy had BDE. Maybe.
By the way, my son's like, do you know what Riz is? He told me I had L-Riz, which is bad Riz. And I was like, and this is the car last night. I'm like, let me tell you two something right now.
Wait, what's L-Riz?
It's like L-Riz and W-Riz, which I think is like winner or loser Riz. I'd have to ask him. But he said I had L-Riz. And I'm like, let me tell you. He goes, that's the bad one. And I said,
what's Riz though? Like just being
charisma. Charisma. They say charisma. And I said, in what universe do you think your mother doesn't have charisma? She's sitting here in a skeleton onesie on a Friday night, bitch, drinking Irish cream and about to talk some shit. How dare you? And I said, both of you have Riz, and you know where you got it. And it ain't from daddy. I mean, give me a break. 45 years old with purple lipstick. Also, I got a pimple this week, and I was like, I'm really happy that my skin still thinks we're 16. I looked in the mirror, I go, you go, girl. You're still hanging on to that 16-year-old dream.
Let's go.
All right, girl.
Let's go. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. The last thing I would just want to say very, very quick, because my story's not that long, is I'm going to put this in our notes. I'm going to put it in our Instagram pictures. Is there are places where they have abortion funding in Florida.
Ooh.
If you're in Florida and you need to get out of the state to have an abortion, because once this bill, if this 6-week abortion bill, if it's being fought in the courts right now, but if it becomes permanent, it's going from like a woman has to drive 45 minutes to an abortion clinic in Florida to up to 9 hours to get out to go to an abortion clinic because you now have to get out of the state. North Carolina, I think, is going to be our refuge. And so if you need funding for that, or you know someone who needs funding, please contact one of these organizations. They're all over the state, and you can call them, and they will help you get a plane ticket. They'll get you a bus ticket, whatever you need, a place to stay when you get there. whatever you need, these things are available to you. There's no, like, all hope is not lost because we have these organizations if you need them. Also, if you have dollars that you can give them, please do so. If you have $5, $10, $20, give it to these organizations because they are going to need it, because women in Florida and girls here that they're already helping are really going to need it. Okay? We've had girls that have, young girls under 18 who have had to been taken out of Florida because of this. So here are the names: Tampa Bay Abortion Fund, EMA West Palm Beach, Women's Emergency Network, Florida Access Network, Broward Women's Emergency Fund, who we know, and ARC Southeast. I'll put their information in our notes. And please, if you can give them money or if you need help, please contact them. There are options, and all is not lost as long as we have like these amazing organizations here in Florida. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Because here's the thing. I had a whole story done, which I'll do in 2 weeks. But then yesterday something happened. I shouldn't be smiling when I'm saying that. But I was like, oh my God, I want to cover this person. I can't believe I haven't covered them. I'm going to cover former mayor of Cincinnati, Jerry Springer. Jerry.
I feel like we did Jerry.
We did not, but I'll tell you why it's familiar. Okay. Because I did look it up and I thought, oh my God, I forgot how funny this was.
Jerry.
Yes. Very. Tina, you have a fantastic memory from episode 6.
Woo!
Which I'll tell you about at the end. I have it in my notes at the end, but okay. So.
Oh, Jerry.
I know. And I gotta tell you, I loved the Jerry Springer show. That shit to me was the fucking bomb.
Those fights.
Girl, I lived for it.
Those fights.
Like
he had that one like big security dude.
Mike.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah, who ended up having a show later on, by the way.
No, he did not.
Yeah, that Jerry, I think, produced or something like that.
Oh my God.
But anyway, he's got a very interesting story.
Was he still married to that chick from, he was married to like a news lady.
Oh, Jerry was?
Yeah.
Wait, are you thinking about,
I've confused him.
You confused him with the guy who does the paternity test, Maury Povich.
Oh, yeah.
He was married to Connie Chung, and I think they are still married.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am lumping the two of them, but they were in the same era.
Yeah, totally. No, totally.
You are not the father.
Yeah. And the guys would jump and go, ooh, I start running around. The girl's like, damn. Oh, God, that's so embarrassing. Okay, so Gerald Norman Springer was born on February 13th, 1944, in the London Underground station of Highgate while the station was in use as a shelter from German bombing.
What?
Can you fucking believe this? During World War II. And he grew up on Chandos Road in East Finchley, London. Isn't that incredible? He was born in a underground subway station that was being used as a shelter during World War II.
I didn't even know he was British.
He's not British. I'll tell you a little bit about his family, Tina. His parents, Margot and Richard Springer, were German Jewish refugees who escaped from Landsberg an der Warth in Prussia.
Margot, I love that name.
Oh, it's on my list of names I was going to give my daughter that got nixed. In January 1949, at the age of 4, Springer immigrated with his parents to the United States, settling in the Kew Gardens neighborhood of Queens, New York. He attended nearby Forest Hills High School, and one of his earliest memories about current events was when he was 12 years old and watching the 1956 Democratic National Convention on the TV, where he saw and was impressed by John F. Kennedy.
Wow.
Inspired him.
Oh, look, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah. Springer earned a bachelor's degree from Tulane University in 1965, majoring in political science, and he earned his Juris Doctor degree from Northwestern University in 1968.
I didn't know he was a lawyer.
You're going to get a lot of surprises here. So he's in Chicago, right? Because, that's where he went to school for his law degree. Springer became a political campaign advisor to Democrat Robert F. Kennedy.
What?
Yeah.
How do I not know any of this?
I know. Following Kennedy's assassination, because, oh God, rest in peace. Hey, do we do that? Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't tell you this. On my way home from lunch today, there was a license plate in front of me, and it had the license plate holder had like an Italian flag on it, and it was a vanity plate, and it spelled out Capiche, and I was like, oh, I wonder if they know Tina.
Capiche.
Yeah, I was the whole time I was going, yeah, Capiche, Tina, and I tried to take a picture, and I'm like, I'm gonna die trying to take the picture of license plate. Forget it, I'll just tell her about it. So following Kennedy's very sad assassination, he began practicing law at the Cincinnati law firm of Frost and Jacobs, now Frost, Brown, and Todd, and he became a partner in the law firm of Grinkler, Sudman, and Springer from 1973 to 1985.
What?
Yeah. And in 1970, he ran for Congress. He failed to unseat the incumbent Republican Donald D. Clancy, but took 45% of the vote in a traditionally Republican district. He had previously spearheaded the effort to lower the voting age, including testifying before the Senate Judiciary. I think he wanted to do it to 16. 3 days after announcing his candidacy, Springer, who was also an Army reservist at the time, was called to active duty and stationed in Fort Knox. He resumed his campaign after he was discharged, and in 1971, he ran for the Cincinnati City Council and won.
I love this.
Yeah. But...
What did he do?
You don't know anything about the scandal when he was in office?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. I knew this about him already, but that's why I knew I could cover him. Is that 3 years later, on April 29th, 1974, the Cincinnati Enquirer ran a blind item that a local Politico, that a local Politico had been caught in a vice sting operation and had already been interviewed and was talking to federal investigators and prosecutors. The next day,
a local Politico.
Yeah.
Ooh.
The next day, he resigns out of nowhere. Right?
So everyone's like, connect the dots.
And in his letter, his resignation letter, he said he, quote, he was resigning for very personal family considerations, end quote. And the next day after that, he holds this press conference, and it was kind of groundbreaking because he was honest, and he said, hey, I got caught in this sex solicitation. And, it was me,
Springer.
blah, blah, blah. But he was super honest and
was
forthright.
he on the list? Was he one of...
No.
Okay.
I'll tell you what happened. So then he has to go and testify. He went voluntarily, he didn't have to, but he went to court to testify. And it was revealed in court that in December 1973 and January 1974, he had paid 2 sex workers with personal checks.
Why?
That's how he was caught.
You can't go to the bank and cash that check?
I mean, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's almost like self-sabotage or something.
Yeah, or he's like driving around and he's like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Look, I ain't got no cash, but
I'll write you a check.
This check's good.
Yeah. And they took it.
Can you imagine?
And they probably got busted and had cash and the check on them. And they're like, who's this guy?
I mean, but...
What do you put in the memo? Blowjob?
Yeah.
Plus extra? Like, what do you put? By the way, he had gotten married in 1973. So he had just gotten married when he was doing, I don't know, there's something fucking weird there.
I mean,
by the way, they were married until 1994. They stayed married through all of this. Yeah.
I mean, do your thing, Springer, but why are you writing a check? Like, I guess it's the 70s, but go to the bank.
Rule number 1. I mean,
write that check.
Are people then knowing sex workers now? Do you think that could be a thing?
I'm sure.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That's a trail, though. That's still...
I know, but they need to just make it legal, and then...
Right, then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Come on. So, longtime Cincinnati newsman Al Shackelcott pronounced Springer's career over. But... Springer's honesty helped him win back his seat in 1975 in a landslide.
Well, and I mean,
he's very charming.
But at the end of the day, whatever. So he went to see sex work. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't...
It's the 70s. People are loose.
Yeah. But he's not...
Yeah.
I just, I get it. Like some of these, to me, this isn't a major crime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
all right.
If he was, doing sex trafficking or something like that, that's like a whole different thing. Or if he's extorting money or whatever. But like, whatever. He's like.
But Jerry was always very like he had a boyish thing.
He did.
He's probably like, listen, what do you want from me? Hey, I'm so sorry, right? Like I'm sure he came across. So they reelected him. And they had the thing in Cincinnati, what they have in Broward, where they rotate mayors.
Oh, yeah.
So in 1977, he was voted as the mayor, so he served 1 year. And then he, has his term limit. So in 1982, he sought the Democratic nomination for governor of Ohio.
Dang!
But TV commercials for Springer's campaign referenced his use of a check to pay for a sex worker, saying that he was not afraid of the truth, even if it hurts.
Ooh.
So he failed to win the nomination. And he considered running for the U.S. Senate in 2000 and 2004, but he backed down due to negative associations with the Jerry Springer Show.
Oh.
Jerry! Killer!
Oh my God.
So how do we all all know Jerry Springer. We all know him as this famous talk show host in the 90s.
Oh my God.
The 90s. And
90s.
So the Jerry Springer Show debuted on September 30th, 1991. It was developed by WLWT to mimic the format and look of fellow talk show host, The Phil Donahue Show, and all the way down to Jerry's haircut and his glasses, making him look like Phil Donahue, both produced by Multimedia Entertainment.
But Phil Donahue was kind of like a bald dude with a comb over.
No.
Jerry's...
Dude, Phil Donahue didn't have a comb over?
Didn't he have a
He
comb
had that
over?
beautiful white hair.
He did?
Oh my God.
I just imagine him like
he was
really
sassy.
old.
Oh no. He was like a premature white hair, like a Steve Martin.
Okay.
Another cupcake I'd like to take a bite out of.
I like Steve Martin, but I don't know. Phil Donahue always just seemed like old and nerdy.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah,
Well, you know.
okay.
Let's check my notes. That checks out. That's my type. So,
and Jerry Springer had like curls.
Yeah, he had curly. He had the curly top.
Yeah, he had more hair and
yeah.
So seemed more goofy.
He's goof. Yeah. So it started off as a politically oriented talk show. I don't know if you knew that, but it was a longer version of his commentaries. You remember at the end he'd have a wrap up of the show. Remember those Jerry's thoughts?
Yes.
Here's my thoughts.
Some memories.
Yeah, here's my thoughts on this girlfriend who just beat the shit out of the mistress over here or whatever. So guests included Oliver North and Jesse Jackson, and topics included homelessness and guns and within politics. Yeah,
where did it take the left turn?
I don't know. So in early 1994, Springer and his new producer Richard Dominic, who I think might be the person who came up with the idea, revamped the show's format in order to garner higher ratings. So the show became more successful as it became targeted toward tabloidish sensationalism.
No.
Guests were everyday people confronted on a television stage by a spouse or family members, adultery, homosexuality, sex work, being transgender, a hate group membership. Right? Like, there was a lot of KKK outfits on that stage.
But this was all the talk shows were doing this.
Yeah. Look at Oprah was like this for a while, by the way.
All of them were doing this and
without the fights.
Without the fights. But looking back, what must be going on in a family member's brain to say, you know what? I need to find out if my husband's having an affair. I know. Yeah. Let me write a letter to Jerry Springer and like sit on it. It's weird.
Yeah. But
and then they have the evidence, and like it's like this whole audience is
but
there.
Also,
like
there wasn't a lot of internet then.
No.
You know, so this was the form of entertainment. Maybe it went the away because people are just basically doing this to themselves now. Like they'll get on TikTok and they'll put a camera up and they'll tell their husband they're having an affair or something. You know, like they do this to themselves. Everybody wants to be famous.
Nobody cares. I know. I mean, we're different though.
I hate to be famous so bad. Make me famous. Oh. By the way, I saw this Irish cream is kicking out. I saw the most disturbing story ever this week. I got to show you this real quick. There was a woman who was a Kim Kardashian lookalike. Have you seen this woman? I had never heard of her before. Okay?
Oh, who does like TikToks?
I don't know if she does TikToks, but she clearly did like plastic surgery and stuff like that to make herself look. She was beautiful.
Oh, there's a girl I see on TikTok who does these really funny Kim Kardashian videos, and she dresses up like all three of them.
No.
Like,
this is a woman who,
she's so funny.
Look at her.
Let me see.
I mean, I don't know if you could. I don't know if I can open this. This is her. She looks just like Kim, right?
That's kind of creepy.
Except it's totally creepy. But look, this is her body. So she has this really tiny waist and her boobs are way too big and she has clearly, like her ass is just boom like this.
This isn't right.
Anyway.
What doctor is doing this?
I don't know, but let me just tell you something. This girl died this week. She had a cardiac arrest and apparently it was around a surgery. Like she had just come out of the surgery or something like that. Well, and I thought, this is the height of like mania, right? If you're doing these surgeries to look like...
That's like back in the day where they would look like a Barbie doll or look like...
Yeah, but this is fucking nuts. This is crazy.
That's weird.
Why would you do this to yourself? You've like lost sight of something, right?
Yeah. That you want to look like this other person.
And she was young.
Not you.
Anyway. Ooh. She should have been confronted on the... See, this is why we need Jerry Springer. Someone would have confronted her on this.
Yeah, but she still would do her thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What are you going to do? It's like, what's it called? Dysmorphia, right?
It's body dysmorphia. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
So anyway, when these two groups would come together, they'd have these really loud confrontations, and then somebody from the audience would be like, fight,
Yeah.
and they'd fucking start tearing each other's hair out. They had to be pulled apart. It was mayhem, but everybody fucking loved it.
Did the producers tell these guys we want you to get in a fist fight?
That's what we don't know. We don't really know, and
Yeah.
I'll talk about that in a minute. So the show received substantial ratings and a lot of attention, and by 1998, it was beating the Oprah Winfrey Show in many cities and was reaching more than 6.7 million viewers.
Jesus. My dad used to watch it.
Listen to this. He did?
Yeah. He loves Jerry, Judy.
Oh, God. He's my best friend. So in April 2015, how about this? April 2015, Springer debuted the Jerry Springer podcast.
Jerry,
you son of a bitch, why are you moving in on my shit?
Jerry! Wait, what year did he do that?
2015.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
He was ahead. He was ahead of his time.
Okay. But on July 26, 2018, Jerry Springer aired its final episode, 2018.
Wow.
In syndication after 27 seasons before it began airing reruns on the CW in September 2018. So he, of course, goes on to host a lot of shows. He was one of the earlier hosts of America's Got Talent. He hosted a show called Judge.
Was?
Yeah. He hosted a show called Judge Jerry. You know, none of these were very successful. Nothing was as successful as the Jerry Springer Show, which he made tons of fucking money.
I wonder, if it's in syndication, he was probably still making that.
He was making boatloads.
That Jerry, money.
So fucking much money. So, like you said, finally here at the end, like you said, you're like, didn't we cover him before? And I thought the same thing. And then I was like, why do I? So I looked it up. And on episode 6, we had an episode called Throw a Chair.
Oh,
do you remember
yes,
now?
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why this came up and why it was probably one of my favorite. It's one of the best lines we've ever heard on the podcast is what Jerry said in this hearing. So in the 90s, Edward Burke, who was a Chicago alderman in Chicago, where the show was filmed.
Yes. This is coming back to me.
Yeah, he held here. He was very corrupt, for decades and decades as a Chicago alderman, as what happens there. But he held hearings in an effort to shut down the Jerry Springer Show because it was filmed in Chicago. And Springer testified, and of course, like I said, had the best line ever. So in April 1999, Roman Catholic priest and activist Michael Flegger, pastor of St. Sabina Parish in Chicago's Auburn Gresham neighborhood, wrote a letter to Chicago Police Superintendent Terry Hillard complaining of the glorification of violence on the Jerry Springer Show. So Burke showed about 10 minutes of clips from the show on the April 28th, 1999 meeting of the City Council's Police and Fire Committee and convinced aldermen to invite, under threat of subpoena, show host Jerry Springer to testify under oath as to whether the violence on the show was genuine or scripted.
Oh, dang! I don't remember. But
so if it was scripted, Burke proposed to force the show to obtain a city entertainment license. And if genuine, Burke proposed that the off-duty Chicago policemen providing security at the show arrest fighting guests on the set.
Oh, God. Why do you care? Why does he care?
Well, everybody's
Leave people alone.
Meanwhile, he wants everybody to behave themselves. And meanwhile, he's fucking forking money.
Yeah.
Taking money and shit. I mean, come on.
Give me a break.
Yeah, he's corrupt, and he's telling people they're not behaving well on TV. Bitch. So the hearing attracted more than 21 television news crews from around the country, including Court TV, MSNBC, Fox News, a film crew from The Jerry Springer Show, and dozens of print reporters and about 75 of Springer's fans, who were probably like, Jerry.
Oh my God.
So Burke led the questioning of Springer. None of the aldermen asked Springer if the violence was staged until more than an hour into the 3-hour hearing.
Springer's an attorney, so
he gave it to Honey the whole time. He never answered it.
Ooh.
He never answered. Springer, a former Cincinnati council member and mayor, spent most of his time sparring with Burke and handled the inquiry. I'm going to read this directly from the 1999 New York Times article by Bruce Weber. He said, quote, at one point, Alderman Burton Natteris accused Mr. Springer of accepting the invitation to speak only to boost his audience. Duh! And he said, quote, I think you are just a bunch of sacrimonious buffoons, end quote. But when he tried to continue, Miss Tillman silenced him. She was another alderman. And Mr. Natteris responded by yelling, why do you interrupt me, Dorothy? I don't interrupt you when you're asking questions, end quote. And at that point, Mr. Springer leaned into his microphone and said, throw a chair at her. Which is what they would do on the show.
I forgot about that. I love it.
Throw a chair.
Ooh, this makes me love him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Jerry.
And
wasn't it? I think it was prostate.
He passed away. On Thursday, April 27th, at 79 years old. A spokesperson for his family said that he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer a few months before his death, so it was very fast.
Yeah, that's what they call it, the silent killer, because it's like it goes very undetected. You don't know until typically it's like way too late. Yeah, it's a shame.
79's good. It's a good
age.
But we're up there.
But still.
I know.
I just hate these freaking cancer deaths. You know what I mean? Like, it's such bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, Tina, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Oh, Jerry
Springer, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jerry.
I mean,
I'm gonna watch an episode.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do the same thing
in honor of Jerry.
Yeah.
I might show my kids. I might say, you want to know what my, our youth was like? Let's watch an episode of Jerry Springer.
Yeah. I mean, I highly enjoyed it.
Oh my God, I haven't seen one in so long.
I mean, I know people watch wrestling and that's not real. So, what's the difference? Who cares? So even if it is staged, at this point, who cares? I can deal with that. People, man. I know.
People still want that attention.
But it also is a level of, we're humans. We have to be who am I above, right? At least I'm not them. You'd watch it and you'd be like, God damn, this family's got real problems. I thought my family was bad. These people are fucked.
I saw a recent clip on TikTok or Instagram Reels or something, and it was of Ricky Lake.
Girl, I'm into Ricky Lake.
And she looks good. It was a Ricky, but from back in the day.
Oh, those shows.
From her talk show.
Yes.
And I laughed so hard because it's these two girls. Yeah. It's these two. Do you know what the clip I'm talking about?
No.
It's these two teenage girls from they're from some suburb, right?
Yeah.
But they're
goth.
they're in a gang.
White girls.
It's these two white girls with bandanas on their head, and they're we're in a gang, and the people in the audience where do you live? And they say the place, and everyone basically laughs at them. And Ricky Lake is no, this is serious. Yeah. Why are you in this gang? And it's these girls ain't in no gang.
Yeah. I loved it when it would be a working class blue collar dad, and he's pissed off about his son, and they open up the door and the smoke comes out, and the son comes out, and he's white face with the black lines, he's all gothed out. He's wearing the gloves with black nails, and he's walking out, and he's like, "What's the big deal, Dad?" His dad's so fucking humiliated.
Why are they on this talk show?
I don't know.
Why would he go on this talk show?
And also, how do they find him? Do these producers go in the mall and they're like, "This kid's weird"? Maybe his parents are like, "What the fuck?"
Or maybe the kid writes.
I pray for the day that my son or daughter come out with white face and black. I'd be like, "You look so fucking cool!" I love it so much.
Do whatever you want.
Oh my God. So, I'm gonna have to say this quietly to end the show, but last night my daughter was on a group call, video call, and she was gonna show them a tour of our house or something. And I'm like, "Are these kids gonna break into my fucking house later on?" But okay. So she's showing them a tour, and she's like, and I go, "Oh." Because I knew what she was doing, and I came out of the kitchen, and I was like, "Show them the podcast stuff." And she's like, "No, Mom." And she's throwing the phone around. She's like, "Don't do it, don't." And I was like, so she goes, "Well, here's where my mom makes her podcast." And I hear this boy go, "What? Your mom's got a podcast?" And I was like, and she goes, "I'm not going to tell them that. I'm not promoting you." And she ran away. I was like, this is some bullshit. Your mom's got a podcast. I was like, oh, I was so cool for 2 seconds.
2 seconds.
That's all I need.
Take it.
Hey. Me and my pimple. I'd be walking up "Hey, what's up, cool kids?" I'd be one of them. I'd be like, "Look at my pimple too."
I wish that I could be like the cool kids.
Oh, I love that song.
So my son had his, dance. Yeah. And this morning I was like, "Oh," I said, "Are you gonna be like, hey girl?" And he was like, "No."
Is he gonna dance though at all?
Yeah. And I was he's like, no. He goes, "Do you even know what middle school is?" And I was like, oh, what? And he goes, you know, we're going to eat pizza. I go, oh, are you going to be like, hey, come get a slice of pizza with me. Let's be cheesy together. And he was like, leave me alone.
Tina.
I love torturing.
Oh,
it's
no.
fun.
It's the greatest.
And like, he could see things, you know, obviously I'm not being serious. And I mean, I was dancing down the hallway and he was just like staring at me like I'm a lunatic.
I wonder if he'll dance at all. Do you think he'll get up and do a little like shuffle?
I don't know.
I just love every moment of this.
Yes.
I feel like I'm reliving so much of, I liked this age. I liked being in high school. Like I digged all of it.
Well, I didn't, so, you know, my parents were a little strict and I never got to go to like dances and stuff. So,
was your brother allowed to go to dances?
He never really went, and then, you know, I went to my senior prom, and that was like the only one, and it was like all these rules were attached to it. But, you know, so with my son, I'm like, there's a dance coming out, you're going. And he's like, and I'm like, just ask your friends. And they're like, oh yeah, they're going. Okay, then go. You know, like, I just want him, you know, encourage him, just go, just have fun, go on the trips, go do the things, like, just go do it all and have fun.
She wasn't going to go to her 8th grade dance that's coming up in June, I guess. And I was like, can you find out? Yeah, like ask. And of course they had tickets and I was like, what is the deal? Yeah.
At the same thing, like he was just like, oh, I don't know if anyone's going. I'm like, ask someone and I'm sure somebody's going.
Yeah. I loved school dances.
Aww.
Didn't you? You went to the one. I'm so sorry. I was like rubbing it in.
Yeah, I went to my senior prom on the condition that my brother had to come with us.
You had to get him a ticket?
Well, we were both in the same year because he, like, so way back, like I graduated like a year, like I started early.
Oh.
Whatever. So we ended up from first grade on where we were in the same grade.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
Yeah, we're like Irish twins.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, because I'm an October birthday and really I should have been a year behind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I wasn't. And I kind of wish that I would have been because I think I was a little too young, like when I finished school. Because I was like 16 like most of senior, you know what I mean?
Jesus.
I was younger. I was too young. Or 16, I was just turning 17.
This makes your story about like everything else so much more.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
yeah.
So I went with this guy, Brian, who was super cute.
Of course he was. I'm sure I could draw a picture and know exactly what it looks like.
No, actually.
No,
he was like blonde. I was like into blonde boys then. But anyway, so we go, and my brother had to, you know, come with us. And, you know, my dad was like, when does it end? You have to be, as soon as it's over, you have to be there. And, you know, it ends at like 11 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
So my brother was like, oh no, it ends at like 5, 6 in the morning. And he was like, oh, and he's like, yeah, we stay at the school. It's like a whole thing. And then we get there, and my brother's like, where are you gonna be? See you. And like, he did his thing, I did my thing, and then like he picked me up at some party later.
Oh my God, big brother points, man.
Yeah, it was very nice.
That was very nice.
Very nice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Also, your dad, doesn't he have enough Judge Judy to watch? What is he gonna be involved in this?
I'll save it for. I'm gonna save it for Patreon.
We need to do a Patreon.
Yeah, I got a funny story about a really angry Italian dad.
Okay. I'm here for it.
I don't know if I told it before, so we'll see. All right.
Well. I'm literally, I don't know how much Irish cream, what is it? There's no way I'm drunk, but like, I'm just standing, as you're talking, I'm watching the thing go on the recording. Like, I'm spacing out.
Yeah, but we're going. So, bye.
Bye.
Bye.